IGN. NGI. Narrated by Jesse Levine. Good evening, everyone. This is your host, Jess, and you know what I'm sick of? I'm sick of people clowning on game reviews. I am sick of it. I am done with it. Gamers, you don't even know what you're talking about. If you were to ask a gamer how many pizzas are in Pizza Tower, they would be like, I don't know, maybe like 20? Wrong. That's how you know they're not a real gamer. And when you get a game, an oh so magnificent game, you can't help but be like, I know where all the pizza is. That's why I'm the one who spent $20 on the game and not you. And I'm here to say it like it is. I'll tell you right now, people have gone too far, absolutely too far. There's a review by IGN for Mouse PI for Hire, and folks have been absolutely clowning on it, saying we're real gamers and we understand how to actually enjoy games. Wrong. All of these people who are saying this review is stupid and dumb obviously all live in New Jersey. You want to know how I know this? That's because I watched The Sopranos. So they're looking at all of this through a biased lens. They're not really understanding the deep complexity of this review. And that, you know what? There is simply too much cheese in this game. I find the amount of cheese in Mouse PI for Hire absolutely ridiculous. There's simply just too much cheese. Someone has to say it. Someone has to. And when they say the truth, you know what people say? You're crazy. You're crazy. I was watching an IGN review, and you know what I saw that they says there's too much cheese in there. Since when has too much cheese ever been bad for anyone, huh? That's the inner dialogue that goes on in their head, by the way. I thought I might make that clear. That just happens when you're in Jersey. But that's besides the point. Is there really too much cheese? I think yes. I think there is absolutely too much cheese in this game. And I think people are like, there can never be too much cheese. That's insanity. That's crazy. Well, you know what? Sometimes too much cheese just takes away from the overall experience of the game. I'm trying to pay attention to all the cartoony, funny nature of it, but all I can think of in the back of my mind is, my God, I can't believe there's so much cheese around. I can't really concentrate on the actual video game due to the sheer quantity of cheese. Man, I really think I should give a 7.8 out of 10 on a video game because there's way too much water in here. I'm sorry, that's just my honest opinion. The cheese is just too much. When a game is about shooting mousy guys and all you can think about is cheese, I think you have done something completely wrong in this. And everyone's calling them out like, too much cheese, too much cheese, too much cheese. And it's so easy to dogpile on them when really a lot of people are feeling a similar way. But because it's not the popular opinion, they're terrified. They're terrified to speak out because the majority of people on the internet who claim they are gamers will beat them up over Twitter over saying, oh, you like cheese? And the folks over at Twitter will beat them up over saying, oh, you're not the biggest fan of lots of cheese. Well, that means you hate oregano. As the Twitter space after that review came out, ooh, it was ugly. When I saw that Twitter space for the first time, I was in deep shock. Such a violent reaction over this much cheese. Tells you can't really be honest nowadays. You have to really try to cave to people's interests, even though you don't personally agree with it. Even though this is dangerous for me and my non-existent presence on Twitter, I have to stand with the IGN reviewer here and say, too much cheese is too much. I understand this is the unpopular opinion. I understand there's no dislike button for you to mass dislike me, and then therefore everyone agrees with my opinion at that point. We have to keep reviewers honest, because if this is the reaction we're giving to them, what is it saying about us? That we're whiny, we complain too much? Actually, no, there's not really a bit there. That just always happens. Like, gamers have never had a severe reaction to anything, and we've always been very cool and level-headed. I have to stand up for my own opinion. I can't just let this injustice just carry on like Injustice Gods Among Us, where they don't even have an Among Us guy from Among Us 2020. I have to call it as I see it and be honest with myself, because if I'm not, then I'm just caving to the masses and everyone say, well, you're actually a shill who only cares about the popular opinion. You see, there's no winning. There's no winning. I'd rather stand up for myself and not go for the popular opinion, and instead go for the right opinion. Like I said, the cheese is just simply too distracting. It's too delectable, and I can't even shoot my gun because of how delicious looking the cheese is. I just can't look away. Like, my inner dialogue is just saying, oh, I really could go for a scrumptious, delicious piece of cheese right now. Oh, it's so delicious. I mean, my gun doesn't work no more. It don't work no more. I'm just so hungry, and I want to eat a big thing of cheese and go, oh, pat my belly and go, oh, that's so delicious, that big thing of cheese. And that was my experience through the entire game. I simply am just sorry. I wanted to really like this game, but the cheese is just too much. The 6 out of 10 is justifiable. If you have something like that just distracting you the whole time, it just becomes too annoying to just not think about. Like, sure, you have a lot of cartoony fun in there. Like, sure, you're like L.A. Noire. Sure, you're a mouse who's like, I'm gonna say every single thought that I'm thinking of, which is basically what I just said. Sure, my fist explodes people's heads. But at the core of that, you have the cheese, which really just degrades the overall experience. There's a lot of effort put into it. Cuphead was like, wow, not even I could have that much cheese in my game. And for that, I commend you. But the cheese just really destroys your overall experience. And you know what? Speaking of popular opinions, I just have to say it right now. I'm going to just have to say this right now. There is too much cheese in Skyrim as well. If we're just going to be honest, I'm just going to have to be honest here. There is simply too much cheese in Skyrim. It is immersion breaking. If I'm thinking about cheese just laying out, that cheese is going to get gross and disgusting. Is that a dry cheese that they have set out? I don't think so. With all the cheese that's thrown around these areas, a lot of these areas are actually relatively like forest climates. So if you think about it like that, it's going to be somewhat hot, maybe about, give about 60, 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Take out global warming factors like that, maybe put in a little bit, I don't know, some like fantasy mumbo jumbo weather. But like, they don't have magic cheese to protect cheese from molding. So seeing all that cheese that just lays out forever, it doesn't mold, it doesn't do anything, it's just so much out there. There's bajillions of it. Do you ever see any dairy farms? I don't see any dairy farms. Do you see people pressing cheese? I don't see people pressing cheese. It's simply ridiculous. It's 6 out of 10. It's so immersion breaking. With a game that's all about adventure, having that much cheese just simply takes away from the overall experience. And gamers, yes, I'm talking about you gamers. Don't you want me to be honest about my opinions, to just say how it is? Don't you want me to make funny ha-has that aren't corporate funny ha-has? I understand that I will not always have the perfect review, and that's fair to clown on me. But if we can't just look at something so blatant like the giant quantity of cheese and say for once, stand up with our backbone, stand up straight, drink a sip of water and say, no, this is too much. This is a mechanic that is just distracting and aggravating. Then are we really not nitpicking and biased? And for me, I'll tell you this. I am unbiased. I don't nitpick. Everything that I say is 100% accurate and therefore taken as law, except sometimes where I give you the exception, but I won't tell you when that happens. And that's unfortunately where I disagree with the IGN review at this point. After they said too much cheese, they kind of lost me a little bit here. I'm going to be frank with you. Once they started talking about other mechanics, I'm like, oh yeah, this person doesn't have any idea what they're talking about. But he probably thought Battle for Bikini Bottom was too hard. Yes, that is a legitimate IGN review. I don't know who actually did the IGN review for that. I think that's one thing with big companies like that. You don't actually know who the reviewer is for each review, or no one really gives a crap. Whoever did the Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, oh, that was awful. That was actually just horrible. That was bad. Oh, that was not good. Oh, that was bad. So no, I don't think the review by IGN for Mouse PI for Hire is the worst review of all time. But it's also not the best review of all time. They have to acknowledge that cheese is just simply too distracting. But everything else, it was stupid and dumb, and why would you ever say that? You know, I'm glad I could sit down with you all for a moment and just say my honest thoughts and how I feel about video games. And everyone reacted in a very calm manner. And now comes my review of Last of Us 2.